Hi, this is Mike from Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and today we're going to be taking a look at Arctic's Alpine 64 GT. Keep watching to find out more. Okay, so today we're going to take a look at the Arctic Alpine 64 GT. Now this is an extremely cheap CPU cooler. This one at the moment is retailing on Amazon, currently around about the £7 mark. Yeah, that's right, £7, which is an incredibly low amount of money. But this cooler fits into a perfect position at the bottom end of the market. So if you're trying to cool a CPU like an older AM1, AM4, AM3, various types of coolers from AMD which use the clasp type fitting, this is possibly going to be right up your street. Now this is mostly aimed at users that are currently still using their stock cooler. Now this cooler will support TDPs of up to around about 65 watts. So it's not a particularly powerhouse cooler, but it does the job very, very quietly and will definitely be an upgrade over your stock coolers. Now at the moment I'm going to be using it in conjunction with my Athlon 200GE, which is currently running in the machine you can see behind me. And this is used as a media center PC and is tucked away behind the TV in the living room. I'll put it here on display so you can actually see what it's all like and hear what the noise is like. Now let me give you a demonstration of what the stock cooler currently sounds like. There is actually like a really, really bad kind of high-pitched whine that comes from that cooler. Now obviously it is a cheap cooler, it's a cheap CPU, but I'm sure that things could be a little bit better. So this is what it sounds like under a medium load. So there you go, you can hear what it's like and you can get an idea of what it's causing me issues. There's a pitch to it that I just really don't like. The cooler itself actually doesn't do too bad a job. It is a very low-end CPU, so it's not really causing a great lot of heat, but it's just that annoying whine which is really, really frustrating. And I've looked around all the rest of the fans in the system and that is the one which has got just that pitch which is really, really getting to me. So I thought I'd give this a try. Again, for £7 on Amazon, it's not the end of the world if it doesn't work out as intended, but I'm pretty sure, like most of the other Arctic products, this is going to be absolutely fine. So let's take a look on the box and go through some of the specs. So specification wise, the maximum cooling capacity of this is 70 watts. The fan is a 80mm, 500 to 2000 RPM PWM controlled fan. You've got a fluid dynamic bearing and the noise level of a quarter of a ohm, which is very quiet indeed. Now the dimensions of the cooler, for those of you that are interested, is 100mm length by 84mm wide and 64mm high. So if you're planning on putting this in maybe like an ITX build, something like that, or a low profile chassis, that's the size that you need to look out for. So compatibility is going to be very important with this. So this is compatible with AMD sockets FM2+, FM2, FM1, AM4, AM3+, AM3, AM2+, AM2, 939 and 754. So that is pretty much most of the AMD chipsets of the last almost 20 years. Hopefully this is going to be really simple to install. I'm pretty sure it is. I've had a quick look at it and the clips and the fittings look absolutely easy to do. So let's take it out of the box and see what we actually get. So first of all we get the usual kind of semi-installation guide, gives you a brief introduction of how to do things. There is also a QR code which you can scan if you wish to. And also if you're installing this for somebody else, there's a handy sticker which you can peel off and stick to the side of the case, or a user manual, just so that if somebody you're actually building this for wants to do some work on it, they can get an idea of how to do it. And lastly is the cooler itself, which I actually think looks pretty damn good. This is very reminiscent of kind of the generation when this was released, kind of around that AM3 era. A lot of coolers had this type of design with this kind of suspension arm on the top which holds the fan and quite a flat and wide fin base. Now the fin base itself and the actual cooler is all aluminium. There's no copper slug in the bottom of this. Again, to keep costs down, this is a very simple design. Now the actual top piece, the fan unit, is removable, so to ease cooling and also to ease when you're trying to clean this up. So if you've got it in a particularly dusty or dirty PC, it's actually really simple. So all you need to do is you can unclip the cooler completely from the fins, and then you can get a vacuum or a cleaner and clean out all of this to prevent any blockages and to prevent any issues with cooling. So very, very simple. Literally just clip that on over the top and you're pretty much ready to go. So all you need to do for the clips themselves is, with your standard AMD mounting brackets, which are normally attached to motherboards when you get them, is there's a clip on the side which just pushes over and pushes over. Now when it comes to releasing it, on the top you can see there's access, so you just put like a screwdriver or something thin and fine in there and you can push it down and then lever it slightly to release the clasps. So I've got the PC running in the background at the moment. This is my 200GE. I'm currently running the CPU Z stress test, and at the moment, even with the cooling that we've got in there, which is two 120mm fans at the bottom pushing cold air through, the CPU at the moment is still hitting around about 46 degrees centigrade. The ambient temperature in the room is about 22, and at base cooling, like when we first turned the PC on, we're at 31 degrees C. Now all of these temps are from the AMD Athlon 200GE. The package temperatures are pretty much the same. Yeah, there's not really a great deal in it. So we're maxing out around about 46, 47 degrees C. So let's install this and see if it improves anything. So as you can see, the cooler inside the case at the moment, so it's the usual clip style. So all we're going to need to do is to release the clip, pull off the tag, give it a little twist, and that takes the cooler off. So we'll disconnect the PWM controller and then we'll go ahead and put the new cooler in. And as you can see, this cooler hasn't got a lot of depth to it or anything, so let's replace it out with the Arctic. Okay, so we've connected the PWM header, which you can see there, and as you can see, the cooler itself actually comes pre-applied with some MX compound on there, so we don't have to worry about putting any compound on. So that's all done for us. So all we need to do is align this over the top of the hook section here, and there's a hook section just down here, and hopefully just a little bit of pressure and that should attach it quite nicely. Now it's a shame that the Arctic logo, which is actually on here, isn't turned round to match up with the lug, so it's either going to be that way or going to be that way round, which is a shame, but never mind. So I think we'll put it around this way so we can tuck the wires away. So all we'll do is drop this cooler down and match it up with the lugs, and hopefully just a little bit of pressure. So a little bit of pressure on that side, and maybe at this point a screwdriver might be useful. Okay, so the section here at the top, which you can just about make out, is actually not fitting in between these two sections of the motherboard here. So it won't quite fit in between there. So we're actually going to need to cut a little bit of the cooler off. So let's get the tools out and we'll snip away until we can get it to fit. I never expected that. Okay, so this is what normally doesn't happen in videos. Normally it all goes really well and everything works straight off the bat. But unfortunately, trying to snip the edges off of this to make it fit on the motherboard has taken off the entire clip. So there's no way now that this is actually going to physically fit on the motherboard. So what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to drill some holes in the top sections here, and I'm actually going to try and use some cable ties, which I've put here somewhere. And what I'm going to do is put cable ties down through the cooler along the side, and then on the back plate I'm actually going to put another cable tie to kind of marry up to it to hold it in place. And hopefully, fingers crossed, this might work. Yeah, things aren't going well so far. So let's get the drill and see what else can go wrong. So this drill bit, I'll use a tiny little drill bit and make a small pilot hole, and hopefully get it into such a position that it will match up and allow me to attach it behind. I may have to change the size of the cable tie to a slightly larger cable tie depending on how this holds up and how strong they are. Again, this is not the kind of the optimum conditions for doing this, so yes. Don't try this at home. Or better still, get an adult to do it for you. So if we work out roughly where the motherboard standoffs are going to be, so I think if we go through about here, it should be okay. And we'll do that in all four corners. Okay, so that's our 4 holes made. So what we're going to do now is put the cable ties through, like this. This is something that happened quite regularly in the early 2000s when trying to modify coolers to fit on various motherboards. Yeah, I can't remember if it was very successful back then. Hopefully it will be. So effectively now what we've created is 4 mounting points, which will hopefully be strong enough. Again, it's not a very heavy cooler. All we can do is give it a go. So we'll put the CPU on, we'll run these through the AM4 mounting holes, and then on the back of the motherboard we'll put on another set of cable ties on the back just to marry that up and hopefully hold it in place. So let's get the PC ready. So this section here is our back plate, which we'll be removing, so we'll take that out now. Okay, so we've taken off the screws, taken off those bits off the front, so now we can pull this piece off the back, which hopefully will come off easily enough. And typically... Okay, so that's gone particularly badly. So what we've had to do is upgrade the size of our cable ties to these new thicker cable ties, and also re-bore out the holes in the top to make that stick in, because they were just basically pulling through the back plate of the motherboard, as I kind of expected they might do, but I thought I'd give it a go. So we bored it out by a couple of mil, and let's give this a go. So what we've got now is we've got these 4 cable ties come out from the bottom of the motherboard, as you can see there, through the backing straps. So in order to get it lined up a bit easier and make it a little bit easier on myself, I've put the PC down flat on the desk, so hopefully this should make it a little bit easier. So let's try and slot this thing on. Okay, so let's grab the cooler. Where did I put the cooler? There it is. So we put a new dab of thermal paste on as well. So now what we're going to have to do is to thread these through. So stick one through there, one through there. This is janky AF, but I actually like it. It's been a long time since I've done anything quite as bad as this. Okay, so now if we lower that down nice and easy, pulling those through as we do it, until we get pretty near where the CPU is meant to sit, and we'll kind of line it up by eye, pull those through, and that is pretty much where I want it to be. That isn't bad at all. Right, so now what we do is we're going to run another cable tie down through, and we'll use that as a kind of like a lock to hold it in place. So we can snip those bits off. We don't need that at the moment. Well, we won't need it at all actually. And this is better work because I've only got 10 cable ties. So if this goes wrong, I'm in the doo-doo. That was the wrong size, so we're down to 9. Please, flat earth Jesus, help me. Okay, so that leaves me with 1 spare cable tie in case this goes wrong. So we'll snip those down. So take it right to the bottom. Take that one to the bottom as well. Wait till they both bottom out. And then we can start pulling them tight. Much like you would with the push pins on the Intel, just give it a little bit of pressure. There's a little bit of play on there, but not too much. I think that's workable. Okay, one more click. Yeah, I think that's about as much as we can do, and it actually seems in there pretty firmly. So go ahead now and trim the rest of these off, which is not going to be easy because of where they are. Obviously this isn't the perfect solution, and because they are plastic, obviously the heat is going to get to them after a while, so this is only going to be kind of like a relatively temporary solution. Now let's plug the PWM back in. Times like this I wish I'd have done this with a larger case. That's that connected, so let's try and route that down somewhere slightly out of the way a little bit. That's tucked away. There we go, that's not going anywhere. Oh well, let's give it a try and see if it actually performs. Okay, so never in my wildest dreams did I think that installing a £7 cooler would have caused so much problems. The Arctic Alpine 64 GT, as we've seen, is great for AMD sockets, but if your motherboard has VRMs, which are very close to where those clips go, then it's not the greatest idea. So what have we learned from this installation? Well, a few things we've learned. One, it's always good to have a drill and cable ties handy. Secondly, measure the distance of the VRMs from your clip to make sure that the clip on this is actually going to fit over your motherboard. Also, another thing we've learned is it's good to have a vacuum handy to clear up all the bits of drilled out plastic. But the main thing we've come away from is the temperatures and the noise. Now currently this is super quiet. Even with the fan, I'm currently running a bench test, stress test under full load, and we're about 5 degrees less than we were before. So we were previously at 42 degrees C, 31 degrees idle, around about 47 on the under load, and the ambient temperature is about 22, 23 degrees. Currently the temperature's gone up a little bit in here, it's 24 degrees internally. So that's reflected in the idle temperature. We were at about 32 on that, and currently under full load we're at 42 degrees. So we've dropped 5 degrees off the CPU, even though the ambient temperature's risen slightly. But again, that's a fantastic result, especially where we're at such a low temperature anyway for this cooler. So to knock 5 degrees off it is fantastic, and the best thing of all is it is so quiet. Even under full load, that fan is currently ramped up at full speed, which is somewhere around 2000 RPM, and I can barely hear it. All I can hear really is some of the chassis fans I can just about make out if I really concentrate, but it is super quiet. So if you are building a media PC, or you want the quietest PC possible, especially if you're looking for low TDP setups, then definitely the Arctic Alpine 64 GT is certainly worth a look. But obviously do make sure of compatibility and make sure that it will physically fit your motherboard, especially more so if you're looking at ITX builds. So there we go, that has been the Arctic Alpine 64 GT. I've been Mike, this is Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and hopefully we'll be catching you in the very next video. Thanks for watching.